Coach Waterman and I, we have a kind of a long list here of different topics we want to touch on and things we want to chat about. So first one here, though, I wanted to ask you about, I was just curious about your thoughts on team culture. I feel like that's probably something that you spend some time on and have some ideas on. So what are some of your thoughts on that and creating it and maintaining a team culture?
It's funny that you asked that right off the bat, because I think, coming into 2017 when I got the Bishops gig, that's all I would talk about is like changing the team culture, and we're not there yet, but, you could see that there's been a real change in our culture. And, to answer directly your question, I think that the key for me is to keep being consistent with it. If you waver on what you believe your team culture should be, then the players will waver. If you're, this is what it is, and that's how it's going to be, and everything that you change is only to be in that direction, then you'll be fine. So I always tell guys, when my first meeting at Bishops, I told the guys, look, guys, I'm opening a restaurant here, and I only have one thing on the menu. I only know how to make this one great spaghetti sauce. And it's either going to work because you guys are going to buy in, or they're going to find somebody else at the end of my term. But I'm telling you right now, this is the spaghetti sauce. This is the culture. This is the way we're going to do it. And if you buy in, it will work. So we're somewhere in that process.
And Coach, just as a fellow head coach, when you think about that or talk about that, what happens when you have guys who are a little bit hesitant to come along? How do you bring them along?
I think the key is your leaders. I always talk about, leadership is what gets you out of humps. Leadership is what gets, if I use Urban Meyer's 10-80-10, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but, in every organization, there's 10% of, what we call keeners, or guys that do above and beyond, go above and beyond what they can. 80% basically do what you ask of them, and 10% lag behind. And one of the principles we've used is that 10%, that top 10% has to be able to pull guys in. You got to get rid of that 10% that's at the bottom, whether it's by getting them to buy in and get into that 80%, and make that 80% 90, or make the top one 20 and the second one 80. But you can't have those 10. They either got to change or leave. And that's the hard part of coaching. Like, we're starting with the big negative, but that's the hard part of coaching, is that bottom 10% will use up 80% of your time. You're going to find yourself, I find myself as a head coach dealing with that 10%, the ones that aren't following up with academics, aren't going through their workouts, aren't being team players, don't assume their role on the team. Those are the guys that end up managing 80% of my time, instead of spending on the 90% that really, follow the course.
Along those lines, we all know the famous quote from Mike Tomlin, "The standard is the standard." Is that sort of how you approach it? Do you have a set of standard, and that's what you expect of the guys?
Yes, but I've also learned that the guys we coach now, they're all different. They all, back when I played, you could treat everybody the same. You could coach them the same, treat them the same, and it was going to work, right? Nowadays, yes, the standard is the standard, but how you get the player to get to that standard might be different. Some guys need coddling. Some guys need a big shove in the back. Some guys need you to raise your voice. Some guys need you to whisper in their ear. Some guys need a pat on the back. Some guys need you to show them up in film. Watching The Last Dance, it's so crazy. I don't know if you guys have been watching or watched it, but seeing how Jordan, when he got picked on, or when somebody said they were as good as him or can be compared, it's crazy how he rose up and made him pay for that. Some guys are like that in the film room. I find when you get to their ego a little, they might give you a little more, but not everybody's like that. Some guys, it might go completely the different way. So so much of your time as a head coach is kind of spent knowing your guys. Now, I don't jot notes on every guy, but I could see a crazy guy like Bill Walsh doing that, like, okay, yeah, this guy I'm going to treat him this way, this guy I'm going to treat him that way. I'm not that precise with it.